I'm going to start talking, and hopefully people will come in. As I mentioned this morning, memoQ had a baby, and that baby was one of these, that was born standing up and talking back. It was a bad experience. It was instantly a teenage monster. Where this comes from is we were using memoQ within the company for RFPs, and we asked a colleague of ours who had previously worked with us, we asked him to do research. He went out and said, look, there's a market out here. This market for RFP management tools is much less mature than translation technology, so there's an opportunity there. We started talking about this in great detail. A colleague of ours, Mark Schreiner, who was part of our sales team and still works with us on, he still does the memoQ Talks podcast and works with us in some other ways. He got very enthusiastic about it. The end result of this is we established a company with Mark as CEO. Alessia, who I believe used to work for a company called memoQ, was the CRO, and Andraj here is the CTO. I'm going to just hand it over to Alessio to introduce you to BreezeDocs. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So hello. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. So yeah, I am apparently memoQ's baby. Nice to meet you. So if you're wondering what this image is, well, maybe we'll let some people get into the room. That's product of AI, of course. I just asked it to create something that would merge together RFPs and Breeze. This is the result. I'm not sure exactly entirely on what it is, but I think it looked pretty cool, so I left it up there. So today I'm excited to introduce you to Breeze, a solution that we have created to simplify, streamline, and speed up the completion process of RFPs and similar documents. If you're not super familiarized with RFPs, we'll just quickly go through it during the presentation. This is the power pose that we tried yesterday. Thank you. So as Peter mentioned, I'm a CRO at Breeze. Why we're here at memoQ Fest? We're here because this idea was born with the team at memoQ. memoQ's leadership could see that this need wasn't a need that was solely for memoQ, but it extended to the other companies. So they decided to invest in a separate company that they called memoQ RFP. Now, they might not be marketing geniuses, but they can spot a business opportunity when they see one. This was to get back to you, Peter. So that's how we started working on Breeze. It's been already 6 months of development, so today I'm going to kind of guide you through what we have achieved so far. And let's start from an exercise that I did for the first time during one of the public speaking workshops that we did at memoQ last year. I started that this way, so I wanted to try it today, but this is not a presentation gimmick. This is like field research. So if you can close your eyes for a few seconds, I'm not going to let you like that for too long. You know, yeah, just after lunch, you know it. So if you can close your eyes and think about your everyday job and the things that you dislike the most. I'm not talking about colleagues. There's no platform for that. I'm just talking about tasks, everyday tasks. What do you dislike the most? You can tell me. Any answer? Sorry? Administrator's approval, fair. Repetitive task, who likes them? Manual task, that's why everybody's talking about AI. Well, I mean, I guess we can see a pattern here, right? Like people don't like long, manual, repetitive tasks. So if we look at the numbers, even big companies know about that. Asana, Workfront, Adobe, they all have pretty much the same result of internal researches. That is, that 60 to 70%, which is a big number, of employees, they feel that they are spending most of their time doing things that are tedious and they take out of their skillful job or their creative job. And if we think about something that is manual and repetitive, I think the crown very clearly goes to requests for proposals. So very quickly, if you're not familiarized with what a request for proposal is, it's a business document that announces a project, describes it, and solicits bids from qualified contractors to complete it. So normally, it's a very, very, very long questionnaires with a lot of questions that you have normally to turn in very quickly. So request for proposals, of course, is just one of the application of Breeze and one of the types of questionnaires that are out there. There's a plethora of them. There's RFIs, request for information, there's RFQ, request for quotation, there's security questionnaires, there's DDQ, due diligence questionnaire, there's DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion questionnaires, there's ESG, environmental, social governance, there's a lot of questionnaires. The list goes on. And also the time that you need to fill them. If you go back to data, we will see that companies find that the biggest challenge they face when they're answering to this type of questionnaires is time. Normally 60 to 50% of the answers say that the biggest challenge is time. So this is coming from big companies, right? Big companies that have their dedicated team, dedicated resources, but you can imagine small and medium businesses, they don't have the same type of resources. I have asked the attendants here at memoQ on the Wova app to answer a few questions. One of these was, does your company participate in RFPs? 56% said yes. And what is the biggest problem you face when dealing with RFPs? And here as well, the results go in parallel with bigger companies. Lack of time is at 66%. Then we have lack of centralized knowledge and lack of resources. So if we zoom out from the personal experience, so just doing tedious tasks, and we look at this from a company perspective, we see that the problem is not only just time. Time, yes, it's probably still the first, as we've seen, because completing these documents is extremely time-intensive. There is extensive research to done. There is cross-collaboration among teams. You have to gather the data. You have to compile the data. So it takes time. Another problem is the lack of centralized information. And this is a problem companies have been facing for probably decades. Information is always scattered around by department. So it's hard to put it all in one place and then use it. Inconsistent responses, if we don't have a centralized repository, then it's hard for us to be consistent in our answers. So this can bring to errors, or just we won't be able to use the information that we already have. Tight deadlines, of course. If there is a lot of information to provide, that also has to come with very strict deadlines, which makes everything more complicated. Compliance and regulatory challenges. I don't think I have to add anything to this step. Resource constraints, particularly poignant for SMBs. They don't have dedicated resources to go over this. And opportunity costs. If we are diverting attention from everyday activities, then we are probably losing in operational performance and also in growth initiatives for the company. Going back to the polls, here I've asked if your company takes part in RFPs, how many RFPs do you submit every year? And they answered from 1 to 10, most of the people, and some from 11 to 25. While the second question, what is stopping you from participating in RFPs, the answer is actually pretty interesting. It's 33% all over. It's lack of time, lack of resources, lack of general knowledge, lack of centralized knowledge. We will be presenting you with a user case from memoQ that actually will go right in parallel with the data that we've seen today. Why aren't SMBs accessing this type of RFPs? Maybe they don't feel ready. If they feel ready, maybe they will just do from 1 to 10 because they don't have the resources. So how can we overcome this? So can you imagine if there was a tool that would do all that? Yeah, of course, there is. That's why I'm here introducing Breeze. That's what we've been working since, well, last year. Breeze is an AI-powered platform designed to simplify, streamline your completion process for RFP-like document. So this is, I will be talking mainly about RFPs, because probably this is the reality for most of the attendants to the conference. But of course, this extends to not only the questionnaires that I mentioned earlier, but also to some other applications that I will be showing you in a bit. By leveraging, of course, AI technology and RAG, you've been probably hearing a lot about it, and you will until tomorrow, but also natural language processing technologies and centralized knowledge management, we have created a system that will help you complete your questionnaires in a faster way, more efficiently, and with more consistency. Our mission is evolving since when we started, and it will keep evolving. But right now, our mission is to level the playing field so that small and medium businesses, they can compete for RFPs on equal footing with larger firms, no matter their resources. And the idea is easy. You import everything that you have. You can have already sent over some RFPs, so you have already answered questions in the past. You can import them. You can import your company documents, internal procedures, policies, product descriptions. Very soon, you will also be able to use a URL so that you will be able to import information maybe from your company blog, where you're sharing your latest news or the updates on your products. All of these goes inside the Knowledge Hub. The Knowledge Hub is the beating heart of Breeze. Everything that you have about your company will be there. And number 3, really, you just upload your questionnaire, and Breeze will complete it for you using results coming from your previous RFPs that already have been validated by you, by your company, so it's safe to use. And for the ones who you don't have answers for, then the AI will actually generate answers for you based on the documents that you have on the Knowledge Hub. This will be packed up in a nice template with your logo, your branding, and it's ready to be sent to your potential customer. There will be some other features. Unfortunately, today I won't really have the time to go into a full demo, but feel free to stop me today, tomorrow, to either book a demo or show you the platform. Everything is made with, I think I skipped one. No, it's still this one. Everything has been developed doing constant testing with SMBs to validate all of our points. There's a lot of features that we could add or start from, but we wanted to make sure that we are doing what SMB needs, and this is the way we are advancing in our development. This is the Knowledge Hub. As you can see, there is previous RFP files. Here you can see Answer Amy. She's our user case today, so she will be talking to you about her experience going from nothing to an internal workflow to Breeze. But this shows all the RFPs that you have completed in the past and that you can add here. Then you have responses in the middle, which is the question and answers pairs. So you can look what you have in your database and operate on them. And then you have uploaded documents, which are reference documents. So the ones that I mentioned before, policies or whatever. This is just to give you an idea of the screen, which will be your editing part. As you can see, the questions are identified by Breeze, and they are associated with an answer. Again, you're free to come after, and I can show you what your options are, how you can choose, and what are the results that are presented to you. But here I just wanted to highlight a Breeze button that will basically autofill the RFP for you, giving priority to answers from previous RFPs, and then completing with the AI those answers that you don't have in your database. That, of course, then you can send to review to the competent SMEs, the subject matter experts. And then you have some other options on the right where you can edit, find an answer, you can assign to a user, or you can split a question. This is something that came up very early in our calls with the testers and potential customers. RFPs are complex, and sometimes a segment or a question can contain 10, 15 sub-questions. So Breeze has a way to separate these sub-questions, so you can answer to them one by one, and it's also easier to find them in the database, of course. And once you have answered all of those questions, you can merge them back in one answer. So given that time is ticking, I think I will invite Amy Kilbett to the stage. Amy is the RFP manager for memoQ, and we call her Tester Zero at Breeze because she's been there since the very early steps of the development. And so, Amy, please come in, take the floor, and share your experience. You will be able to ask questions to her, too. If you don't trust me, she will answer them.
Thank you, Alessio. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Amy. I am the RFP manager at memoQ. I've been with the company for over 2 years, almost close to 3 years. And my role is primarily to manage the RFP process and make sure that we submit a winning document, high-quality proposal on time, which addresses the pain points that Alessio mentioned earlier in his presentation. So I'm going to share with you the stages of memoQ's journey in terms of the completion of RFPs, starting with stage 1, where there was nothing in place. So as you can see there in the drawing, the string is very much convoluted. There's chaos. And because there's no system in place, everyone was like scrambling. They have to approach different people within the company because RFPs, to echo what Alessio mentioned earlier, it's time-bound. You cannot submit an RFP that's beyond whatever the client's deadline is. It requires a lot of team effort because normally for RFPs, the questions range from, say, 100 to 500 questions, and it spans from different kinds of topics like security and information questions, data and compliance, functional and non-functional questions, all the way to a simple supplier questionnaire. It's all bundled into that particular document. There's a lot of inconsistencies between different hubs or departments from our experience. Like, for example, WEMEA hub will have a different answer compared to the Americas. And the library, there's no repository of documents at all. So our content were scattered and placed everywhere. There's no orderly communication between the different teams. We don't know who to approach, who's the SME. There's nothing in place, really. And the process is basically decentralized. So that's the drawing. I call it a spaghetti, an orange spaghetti right there. And when we moved to stage 2, you can see now that the spaghetti started to unfurl, and there's a bit of a process already in place. So Philip Klepacki, who is the current head of business services for memoQ, thought of a way to untangle this convoluted process. We started to work on an internal workflow where it's very much manual. We started to create new roles. I was onboarded 2.5 years ago. We tapped on our internal teams of subject matter experts where compliance questionnaires go to the compliance team, IT and security questionnaires to the correct department, functional questions go to the solutions engineer and our internal consultant, and HR questionnaires goes to the HR team. We already developed a centralized workflow, resource alignment in terms of who to go to for specific questions. And this is actually a data which we are very proud of because prior to having this internal and manual workflow, for memoQ, we only used to answer about 3 to 5 RFPs in a year, back when we didn't have any process at all. It's because no one is really willing to digest 100 questions at least, or prepare a proposal, a massive proposal. After we developed this manual workflow, which is stage 2, we answered at least 300% increase in terms of the number of RFPs. So for example, I'm just giving you a rough estimate. We answer at least 3 to 5 RFPs in a month right now, compared to 3 to 5 RFPs in a year in stage 1. So actually, that's more than 300%. We still have our own pain points. Like, for example, our workflow is still very much manual. Lack of automation in terms of we use different softwares, like different programs. There's no central platform that we can use. I will give you an example. We still use, like, say, for example, MS Teams to communicate with the internal SMEs. We use Jira, we use MS Word for working on a proposal template and the likes. And then we could not work on complex templates as of yet for stage 2. It's because for RFPs, you get spreadsheets with several tabs, with several columns, and it's really difficult to process that unless it's automated. And the collaboration between not just the teams, but the different softwares that you use, there's no dynamic. It's not cohesive. So we have to think of a way to get out of this structure. And in stage 3, we started using Breeze as, as a, like what Alessio mentioned earlier, Tester Zero. It's a one-platform solution. So instead of using multiple platforms, like what I mentioned earlier, MS Teams, MS Word, emails for sending out requests to SMEs, everything is actually in Breeze. You've seen the snapshot of the picture earlier where you can just click on that icon. It sends a request to the SMEs. It's an automated workflow. We have a centralized library within the platform. You can leverage on past RFPs. He showed the screenshot earlier. For example, an RFP question that I can think of right now for a security questionnaire is describe your business continuity plan. It's a recurring question that's being asked in almost every single questionnaire. And you don't have to type or write the same answer twice anymore. You just have to use or upcycle or edit the content that you have in the database, plus the AI factor. So we're moving towards the automated process, easier communications with the SMEs because it's all bundled in one platform, and definitely to address the question of having to work with different templates, different documents, manual work, and labor. It's less preparation work on the team's end. And there's more features that's coming up soon that we haven't tested yet, which Alessio will explain in a while. And you can see here the spaghetti is untangled. It's already, giving you a shape. And that's where we are right now. Thank you.
The spaghetti became a licorice, I guess. I don't think we have the time to tically go through these new features that are upcoming, but I'm happy to explain them to you after. I hope I tickled your curiosity with what you can achieve with Breeze. This platform has been thought to be really easy to use, very clean UI. So something that is really complex can become pretty easy using this platform. I'll be happy to chat with you after the presentations. I will be here today and tomorrow. Our CTO actually is here today, so if you have any complicated question, please feel free to ask them right now and not tomorrow. And I don't think we have time for any questions, Peter, because I see -2 here. You don't see it, but I see it.
Yeah, the product management team are coming next, and they won't let a single second of their time be wasted. Have we any questions? Okay, if there aren't any questions, I just want to thank you, Alessio. Thank you, Amy. You were both brilliant. Yeah, and he's here. Amy's also here. And if you really want to know how this works in practice, she may be a better person to talk to than Alessio. Who knows? Thank you, Alessio.
Thank you.